Downtown Indianapolis, an hour or so from the campus in Bloomington. Mentioned the Hoosiers will play a game here this year against Louisville, and here is the outlook for Indiana. Some changes in the staff for Tom Allen. Really busy in the portal. 23 new players looking to reinforce a roster that actually brings back the least production of any in the conference. Tom Allen is with us now, head coach of the Hoosiers. It was a ton of fun to visit with your players just a few minutes ago. Really outstanding group of guys. And I was talking to Aaron and Noah, guys who were here 2 years ago when you were really good, about what it's going to take to recapture that. What's your message to the group as you look to get back to where you were at the end of that season?
Well, I think for us, it's just back to just doing the things that we do well, which is we got to run the football. We got to do a great job of getting on the field, off the field defensively. But we protected the ball really well those two seasons in 19 and 20, and that's both sides of the ball. It's creating takeaways on defense, and it's protecting it on offense. And we were really, really good in the fourth quarter. We won those close games. We had 8 games this past season that came down to the fourth quarter, and we're decided in the fourth quarter. And we found a way to finish those on a positive note in 19 and 20, and we didn't in 21 and 22. So to me, the league we play in, that's the way it's going to be again. We got to find a way to finish those games.
Defense has dropped off a little bit these last couple of years. You've reconfigured how you have the defense arranged. So kind of bring us up to date on that, on play calling, and how all that's going to fit together.
Yeah, we have, so I felt strongly about, calling it a year ago because of I felt like it was best for what we needed in regards to, getting us back to being where we wanted to be structurally, schematically. And, but also, and I knew it was going to be hard, with the dynamic. Last time I called it was 18 before all the portal and before the NIL piece. And there's a lot of things going on, so I just felt like bringing someone in that has called it, that has a chance to be able to learn what we do and is already similarly aligned with what we do and to add to what we do. And that's Matt Guerrieri. And so I really feel excited about adding him to our staff. And so to me, it's just about trying to find the best way for me to be the best head coach of the football team that I can be. And so because of that, Matt's going to be calling the defense, and Chad Will's going to be their co-DCs together, and they're going to work. And Chad really focused on the front seven, and Matt really focused on the back end. And I'm just excited about our staff because I spent a lot of time with them defensively, but I also need to spend some time with our offense.
Coach, most of the coaches who have sat with us these last 2 days have mentioned how their personal schedule, whether you call them defenses or not, has been impacted by the NIL and the portal. Are you spending daily time on those things?
I would think so, yes.
Really?
And honestly, it was way more than I really anticipated,
Right. Everyone, it sounds like.
No question. And so it got to the point where I'm like, what, I'm not at my best. There's too many things going on. And so that's not going to change. So I had to change, and I had to make an adjustment to that. And so, I think it's the new part of what we have to deal with as coaches. And so you have to really do a tremendous job. And so for me, I still want to be with our players.
Right.
And so what has to give? Well, you know what? So all that extra time watching film to call the defense, I need to have that time to spend with our players. And so that's the adjustment we're going to make. And so to me, everybody's got to build it the way you feel is best for you and your staff. And I think that's something we all as head coaches have to understand and recognize that things are different now. It's a new era of college football, and we need to be able to be in position to be the best head coach, not just one side of the ball or the other.
You talked about being able to run the ball, getting back to that. How do you see this offensive line shaping up to be able to lead that run game?
Well, you obviously bringing Bob Bostad in was a big part of that, and his track record of identifying talent and developing talent in this conference is pretty clear. And so really excited to have him. He's a Midwest guy. He understands that, trying to find some Midwest players, to be able to help us in that area. And I will say this, that, his toughness, his attention to detail was evident in the spring, and he's a machine. He's just relentless in his approach, and it's been good for our guys. So because it starts up front. We've got to be great in that area. We got to be able to have success in that area, and obviously, a change was made, and he's the one that I believe is going to help us improve that area. Because here's the bottom line: when you can do that, that changes both your offense and it obviously affects your defense and keeps them off the field.
Yeah, your offensive linemen will work harder in pre-practice than they work in practice. He gets after him.
He gets after him. There's no question about it.
I think I have this right. You have 4 starters coming back on offense and 2 on defense. How does that impact camp, especially with how much contact that you're going to go through?
Well, you're right. And so I think that for us, we modified already our schedule to where we're doing a lot of individual time, because I want to make sure we're doing a great job with fundamentals and technique of our football team, because at the end of the day, you got to block and you got to tackle at a high level. And so, but for me also, it's about getting, we're going to do some split squad work to get more guys reps to what you're addressing, because we got a lot of new faces, and I got to get a lot of guys opportunities to get a lot of reps. So instead of just having one group going, we're O versus D, we're going to have 4 groups going, one offense, one defense against another group of offense, all at the same time, to be able to go back and forth. And so, to me, that's going to be huge in regards to developing our players, getting them more reps, getting more guys ready to play. And then when we get into that second scrimmage, we kind of decide who our top 2 groups are going to be, then we'll focus on that group.
When you talk about having 4 groups going, is it more important then from a coaching standpoint to coach those guys when you get back into the film room, or do you try to give them that immediate feedback on the field? You're
going to have to be able to do a great job in the film room. And so, because the way we do it's kind of a rapid fire approach where we have both groups going out, so the staff can go both directions, and you go, this play goes, and you turn around and go to the other side. And so, but to me, we're going to coach as much as we can in a split second time, but then you got to be able to go and get a chance to coach off the film. But at the same time, we're going to do a great job of getting that feedback as quick as possible.
Quarterback's such an important position. Give us the lay of the land in that room.
Yeah, you got 2 guys that right now came out of spring football that we're looking at, and that's Brendan Sorsby and Taven Jackson, and both redshirt freshmen. And love both guys. They've really grown in their leadership this summer, which has been huge. And be able to see them grow and develop throughout fall camp is going to be a big part of this. And at the end of the day, you got to be able to pick a guy that you feel is the best, that's going to allow us to be able to score points and be able to move the football on offense. And so there's a lot of belief that goes into that. So the locker room and the guys that are in that huddle as well, even though we don't technically huddle, that are on that side of the football with them, have to believe that guy is going to allow us to be able to have success and get the ball in the end zone. And so I just know that it's a process we go through. I'm excited about fall camp to figure this out.
You open with Ohio State. How does having a game that challenging from the get-go impact the way that you prepare?
Well, we've done it 5 out of the last 7 years. I've been the head coach. So we've had Big Ten openers consistently. This is the second time we've opened against the Buckeyes. So I've seen it firsthand. It creates tremendous urgency in everything you do in the spring, in the summer, and in the fall camp. But here's what I also think it does. When you have a chance to make it through that process, it helps you, I think, be more prepared for weeks 2, 3, and 4. Because everything you go into to be able to prepare for a team of this caliber that's going to be able to play at a high level right out of the gate. A lot of new faces, challenging without question, but it excites me because it's going to accelerate, I believe, the growth of our team.
I think the natural follow-up to that question is, are you looking forward to the end of the East and the West?
Well, I tell you what, it's going to be different, and you look at the 24 schedule, which has already been put out. Right. We don't play Ohio State, we don't play Michigan, for the first time in a long time during the regular season. So you know what? I'm excited about being able to have a more equitable schedule for the whole conference, for teams playing other teams a similar amount of times in the way it's been the last several years. So, it's something that I believe is a very exciting new era of the Big Ten, and I can't wait.
How important is it going to be to find creative ways to get Jalen in football?
Yeah, very important. He's a special player, and his acceleration is unique. He has both quickness and long speed, which is rare. And so he's a guy that is very effective in space. So from a special teams perspective, you want to give him as many opportunities as possible in that opportunity. As an offensive player, as both a running back and as a slot receiver, I see that being something that's going to be able to be grown with him and expanded with his opportunity, because he needs to touch the football without question.
Coach, you were talking a little bit about bringing in as many new players as you have, and you were talking about it kind of on the practice field and what that looks like in terms of getting everyone reps and figuring out who can do what. I guess I'm interested in it as well culturally, and I think it's just like, this is what it is, right? I mean, this is what college football is, so this is a non-judgmental statement, but it's just so different from when you get young people as a freshman and you kind of bring them up to speed gradually on who you are, and they begin to understand this program, and you all have kind of this common set of beliefs and everything that's been instilled through the years. You've got to get everyone up to date on your culture between the freshmen and the transfers, and we're talking about close to 50 players, right? And so how do you do that? Like, is there a way to fast forward that to get that ready?
Well, it's challenging. I would agree with that, and I think that but the process for building relationships, that does take some time. And so what we've had to do, though, is accelerate it by multiplying what we do as a football team. We've done more team building activities than I've ever done with a group of guys. It started in January, and creating accountability teams and activities that they do together, activities at our home, which we've done all along, but still making that more of a priority to be able to connect with guys and be able to spend more time. I've actually increased the number of meetings I have with our guys individually in this off season. Why? Because I want to continue to get to know them at a higher level, and I want them to get to know each other as well. So, we just had our annual basketball competition, where you just once in Assembly Hall, playing, just doing different things, just hanging out together, competing, having fun, but spending quality time together. Played, paintball during the summertime, by position groups, being able to compete, have fun together. Once again, it's just trying to connect. And then, once again, with our leadership council, we got 25 guys on that. The charge all spring's been, go find ways to connect with your teammates, spend time with them, go out to eat with them, have them over to your apartment, video games together, just trying to, once again, accelerate that ability to connect with your teammates. Why? Because I still believe this, always will, the best teams care about each other and love each other. And that happens over time, but we had to accelerate the calendar on that because of the nature of the movement of college football.
Coach, I know you're really connected with the Indiana high school coaches because that's your background. Have you gotten pushback about less scholarship offers for the high school guys because of the portal?
Oh, there's definite concern, and so talking to coaches about that, and I know that that's a reality that we're dealing with. And I will say this, and as the COVID players continue to cycle out, that will have less. In fact, we still have a couple more classes of that. Once they cycle out, I think it'll level out a little bit, which will help in those numbers. Because at the end of the day, we still got 85. And so, but when you have the extra guys in that formula, that's caused some of those spots to be taken by those guys that have a fifth and a sixth year that they may not have had in the past. So I think that will help, but there's no question. And I did tell him this. Sometimes it may force a young man to have to maybe be recruited at a level down from where he should have been. But he's going to have to understand that and go for that and be able to react to the possibilities of what can I do to make myself have value.
Right.
Indiana head coach Tom Allen, always pleasure to visit with you. Look forward to seeing you at camp, and thanks again for your time, Coach.
Look forward to seeing you guys as well. Elio.